So let's talk about how you're losing attention every day. Let's talk about where your attention is going, because for most of us, if you're like me, we're all leaking attention all day long and we don't even realize it. I want to run through some of the biggest attention killers that we entrepreneurs deal with. First is digital distractions. I've already mentioned this a little bit. Social media, email notifications. Our devices are built to steal our attention. Notifications. There's also something called overcommitment. And that's when you say yes to too many things and you spread yourself too thin. And then there's this thing called lack of prioritization, when we are working on things that don't actually move the needle. And then we get into reactive mode, which is constantly responding to fires instead of working on strategy proactively. And then there's this myth of multitasking. We all believe that it's a thing, but it's not. Trying to juggle too many things at once gets you nowhere fast. I mean, there have been plenty of studies that prove that multitasking is impossible. It's actually switching. Your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So if you're multitasking, really what you're doing is your brain is switching back and forth, which is why a lot of you feel very tired at the end of the day when you only did mental work. It's because you switched from task to task and it taxed your brain. And I'll be honest, I used to be the worst at this. I was busy all the time, but making very little progress. And I had to convince myself that I needed to change, because what I was doing is I had convinced myself that I needed to work harder. I needed to do more to take on more projects. And because of that, my attention was being split 100 different ways. But the truth of the matter is that attention is finite. You only get so much of it every day. And if you waste it on the wrong things, you don't get it back. So I want to get specific for a few minutes about what this looks like in real life. I want you to picture a typical day as an entrepreneur. And I assume that you are one because you're listening to this show. You start your morning with good intentions, but within an hour, you're answering emails, you're fielding random questions from your team, and you're putting out fires. And before you know it, it's lunchtime. And you've spent your entire morning, and for most people is the most productive time of the day, but you spent that entire morning on reactive tasks that don't actually move the needle. And that's what happens when your attention isn't guarded. It gets hijacked by whatever demands it in the moment. Now, I want you to contrast that with this. Imagine that you've intentionally planned your day. You dedicate the first 3 hours to a high leverage project, like systemizing or a key process, or strategizing with a major growth on a major growth initiative. Now you've turned off your notifications, you've communicated boundaries with your team, you've created a space for deep work, uninterrupted work. And by the time lunch rolls around, what's the difference? You've made real progress on something that matters, and you're energized instead of drained. That is the power of reclaiming your attention. It's the difference between spinning your wheels on busy work and making meaningful strides towards your goals. That's what attention can do. And this digital distraction, my phone is sitting over here on the desk to my right. And in the peripheral vision, I've seen my screen light up several times. I've been talking about this, and I'm having to guard against wanting to look at that. But it's annoying. But digital distraction isn't just annoying. It's strategic warfare against your focus. And if you think I'm exaggerating, well, think about this. The average social media platform employs thousands of engineers specifically tasked with making their platforms more addictive. They've turned hijacking your attention into science, and they're winning. They're winning. Hey there, it's the real Jason Duncan. Thank you for watching this video. If you are an entrepreneur and you've ever thought about what it's going to be like when you get ready to exit your business, I'm the guy you want to follow. So make sure that you've subscribed to this channel and go check out the link in the description, therealjasonduncan.com. Check out the resources I've got for people just like you, as an entrepreneur who's trying to get his life back, get her life back, get your time and freedom back. We've got a couple other videos you might be interested in. There's one here and there's one here. If that's what you want as an entrepreneur, if you're being trapped in your business, then I can help you get out of that. So go to therealjasonduncan.com. The link is in the description, and check out one of these videos. I'll see you next time.